Hey, what's up, Internet? It is the end of the 6th day now, I believe, of Archnemesis League, and we are now fully swapped over to our Siege Ballista character. I got up to 94 today, so I'm not sure. A lot of playtime in the past couple of days. Better turn on D&D before I forget that. So about 24 hours online, I guess, between a little over 2 days. Don't worry, I wasn't actually playing for quite all of that. There's a lot of just walking away from my computer with this game. But still, we got plenty done here. We were playing a heck of a lot. A lot of that was on stream. Most of our gear is actually pretty good at this point. I made some... This is a synthesis belt rolled with screaming essences of sorrow. Just trying to find life, dexterity, and resists on the synthesis belt that has 15% increased dexterity. You slap this with some intrinsic catalysts to get the 20% more attributes, and you have a pretty good replacement for a Cyclopean coil. I have some Puaharte gloves similar to Freezing Pulse. I have these rolled with some Eldritch implicits. I haven't hit anything juicy on Eldritch, or on the, the Eater of Worlds side, but I did hit the 20% chance to Intimidate, which does work with Totems. And that's pretty good. That's basically 10% more attack damage taken on enemies. Now the value of things like, we have Sniper's Mark and Ensnaring Arrow, which are both debuffs also that apply, more damage taken from attack hits. So it's not quite as good as 10% more damage or anything, because it kind of goes on that stack of increased damage taken as a debuff, but it's still quite good. It's still something like 8%. And there's still some stuff to hit on the Eater of Worlds implicit. I know there's like 3 to 4% damage per 100 dex. There's more physical converted to cold, which would actually still be pretty good. And I think there's stuff like increased effective marks, which I certainly wouldn't mind for single target DPS increase. We are on a 6-link Iron Commander. I have a couple of Awakened Gems. I don't have Awakened Elemental Damage yet. I did already get a Fractal Thoughts with a enchant, which has attack speed on it. A pretty decent Archnemesis, which I have anointed with Shaman's Dominion. Garakons, which I just bought directly with the enchant on them for like 2 exalts. Kind of pricey, but if you hate lab as much as I do, it's a price I'm willing to pay for somebody to go farm that enchant for me. And, the rest is pretty standard stuff. My flasks are still a little bit scuffed, but I have them rolled vaguely for the kind of things that I want. I have a really nice ring here with a lot of chaos res to try and buffer my chaos resistance. And this ring's okay. I wish it had more dexterity. I'm definitely going to have to replace this to get to the 1600 mark. I'm trying to try to hit 1600 without hunter gloves to see if that's like reasonably doable. But so far, I want to say we're at least like 10x deep in budget on this character already. It's probably like 3 exalts here, 2 here, 2 here. A 5-link Curious is probably like 70 C right now. 2 exalts for this. The gloves were actually pretty cheap. Actually, it's probably more like 12 exalts because I bought the Brutal Restraint. Technically, I've had this myself. I crafted this cluster, but it's still relatively valuable. Yeah, it's probably more like 12x at least at this point. I did buy the Thread of Hope after today's stream too. This was from the old high-end setup, if you remember, and I like this setup a lot. It's pretty practical. Like, Thread of Hope is not all that expensive, at least for like the mid-game approaching end-game level of gear, right? When you're looking for decent size upgrades. I think this was like 70 chaos or something. I just like how powerful this large ring is. We hit like Forces of Nature, we hit Aspect of the Eagle, One with Nature, Primeval Force, both of these bow notables, which are really strong. It's just really, really good. And you save 3 points compared to the way we were pathing here, just going over to King of the Hill, which allows you to get a little bit more out of your tree. I think I picked up the Armored Evasion Mastery. Actually, with those 3 points, I went straight into Heartseeker. That's right. And got that at 94, 93. No, it was 93, and then I picked up Armored Evasion Mastery for some more armor at 94. As you see, I just got out of the Shaper's Realm, so the magic of editing. I'll go ahead and show you guys that while I talk a little bit about how this character has gone. It's been great again. I'm really glad to get back onto Siege Ballista. I wasn't really that disappointed in Freezing Pulse. It's just more of a, you know, that build has kind of been my baby, and it's a little disappointing to see them treat it so badly, I guess. But it is nice to get over to Siege Ballista, especially with a decent chunk of gear. And the single target's already shaping up pretty well. I will leave the POB of where we're at here on day 2 in the description. As you can see here, the DPS is pretty good. This is the Maven version of the Shaper, so he's definitely getting some buffs from her, and I have to be a little bit more mobile to deal with all the things that Maven likes to add onto that fight. Thankfully, it wasn't too punishing. Sometimes Maven with the Shaper gets really ugly, and she will do things like put a roving ball on the ground while also having a clone of the Shaper up, and then he does the bullet hell phase, and suddenly you're stuck inside a Zana bubble, and there's a lot of other things still going on. I don't find that super fair, but this time we didn't anything, you know, too nasty. Map clear is going great already. I think we have about 5 million DPS with all totems up, and like flasks and stuff. And tier 16 mapping, even with a lot of juice right now, is pretty smooth. I can go ahead and show a clip of that too. I might wait for tomorrow on that, but depends on how long this video winds up being. We'll see. Haven't really hit any snags. We killed Sirus today on stream. We killed the Searing Exarch again. I didn't roll that or the mini boss because I feel like I didn't learn much the first time I fought them. I don't know if you guys felt that way, but they were pretty light on life, and I think at least with the Black Star, I don't think it's super clear exactly the first time you go in there what to do, unless you like YouTube it beforehand. I tried to do them blind, and I didn't find it like super intuitive what to do with the avalanche, so I went in there again. I almost figured it out. I did die once to the Black Star again because I was hiding behind a pillar from the avalanche, and the room like rotated, so the pillar I was hiding behind went from blue to red, and that allowed the avalanche to break that pillar. So I kind of learned that if I'm going to hide behind a pillar on the matching color so that the pillar survives, I need to make sure that the pillar will still be there throughout the whole attack, which is pretty annoying. I find that the mini bosses of this expansion so far are significantly harder than the 2 major bosses. I'm not sure how that happened. They certainly seem like they require a lot more of your attention. The Searing Exarch in particular is pretty funny for this build because his sort of main, like big attack, where he has like a phase where he summons a lot of extra things to dodge, you can kind of just block those with your totems, and it really saves a lot of headache. You don't necessarily have to be very precise with your movement because you can just play linebacker with your 14 totems or whatever, and just hang out in the middle mostly and wait for him to get bored. It's pretty cool. The other Eater of Worlds I haven't gotten to yet. I have no idea when I'm going to get back to that boss because the Searing Exarch influence on the map, I think, is superior. It drops scarabs and gems, which to me is a better like specialized reward from the altars, and the mobs are definitely easier to deal with. Most of the effects that the Searing Exarch altars can put on like map bosses or eldritch minions, they're not as dangerous, and they still give good rewards like scarabs. So I've been juicing my maps up with the Searing Exarch influence pretty much 24/7 since I've unlocked it, which has actually blocked my Maven progress a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of how you have to choose between the Maven and these 2 new influences, specifically because the Maven doesn't actually juice your maps at all. You know, it feels like the Maven is a lot more punishing to try and pursue because it's like a huge amount of maps still, but you're not getting any juice the whole time. You know, you have to run them basically, you know, naked except for the boss capture. Whereas Searing Exarch is adding a ton of monsters and a ton of rewards to every map, and you still get to fight some bosses. So I hope that they add something to Maven's influence that allows her to compete a little bit more. I guess in their eyes, it's probably that the Maven is more competitive in her own loot, because the Searing Exarch for sure doesn't seem to have great drops. Like, he can drop the Forbidden Flesh Jewel, I think it is, Forbidden Flame, I'm not sure what it's called, but you're basically playing Watcher's Eye gambling with that. There's so many different Ascendancy notables that the odds of you hitting one, like Profane Bloom or something that's actually worthwhile, pretty poor, and then you have a really bad chance of dropping any of them at all in the first place. So I killed him today and I got like a staff that was so low valued that it doesn't even show up on Neversink's filter as soon as you get to like very strict or something. I'm kind of surprised because that staff seems pretty good, but people don't really seem to want to build around the penalty of it. Can't blame them. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. It's been a pretty good couple of days getting back to Siege Ballista. I've had a total of 4 deaths. I think all of them were today. I had no deaths leveling up to like 90, even though I was running some pretty juiced maps, but I died a couple times thanks to chat. It's pretty much always chat's fault because I'm a perfect player, extreme skill, but it's just been good, you know. I'm really enjoying the mapping experience of this league. I know a lot of people thought this was going to be a bossing league with the new bosses and these jewels and these rare, you know, items and whatever, and to me it just feels like Ritual all over again, where the Maven is like the only boss I want to kill. It's just that I can't kill her because the Searing Exarch influence is so juicy that I just want to map and map, and that's probably what I'm going to do for the foreseeable future. I'm going to try and farm, make a bunch of money, improve my gear, hopefully hit something big, get a headhunter, farm even more. That's my plan. I'll probably be continuing to do these videos, League Start progress-wise, for a little bit longer, just because I did have to level 2 characters this league, basically. I probably will take Siege Ballista to 100 again. We'll see how we get there. I'll let you know as we continue this video series. But if you want us to come catch the stream live, you can find me at twitch.tv/WallachTV. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.